Hello students, welcome to the tutorial on units and conversion. In this tutorial, we're going to look at the question that I left you guys with in the previous video, so I hope you guys have time to try it out. Let's jump right ahead and see how we work out this question. So let's proceed. Well, let's go to the question. So let's say we have this drug that contains a solution of a drug of 150 micrograms per 2.5 milliliters. Convert this dose into grams per liter. So all they're saying is we have a drug. This is literally a solution of a drug. This solution contains 150 micrograms. It contains 150 micrograms per 2.5 milliliter. Now I want to convert this dose into grams per liter. So it is an easy question to say, but it just has a little bit of practicality. Don't get confused by the chemical terms they're using here. So all that is happening is we want to convert this value into grams per liter. So the key things that you want to know is what the microgram here will represent. The micro, remember that, we looked at it in the previous questions. If you haven't, I'll leave a link in the description. And apart from that, also what this milli represents, the milliliter. Again, it's another unit that we, another prefix that we used in the previous videos. Okay, so let's go right ahead. So want to convert 150, that's micrograms per 2.5 milliliters. Okay, now what we know about the micro we know to say 1 micro is going to be equivalent to 10 to the power negative 6. So in other words, we say 1 microgram is actually the same as 10 to the power negative 6 grams. Okay, and again, in terms of mostly like working with the negatives then, so I always prefer to have the bigger unit first. So I can say that 1 gram, in this case, 1 gram is going to be equivalent to 10 to the power 6, positive 6 micrograms. So always keep in mind that we need a lot of the smaller units to make the bigger unit, and we need just like a small fraction of the bigger unit to make a small unit. Okay, so this is how I always work about. So if I'm converting, depending with what I'm working with, but mostly I always use this version. Okay, so the other one is for the milliliter. So milli, of course, means 10 to the power negative 3. So again, we have 1 milliliter. This is going to be the same as 10 to the power negative 3 of a liter, or I can say that 1 liter is equivalent to 10 to the power 3, or just 1,000 milliliters. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go right ahead and make the conversion. So again, this is in 2.5 liters. Of course, the question is saying, we just go back up, convert this dose, what dose? This same dosage here. So we're dealing with 2.5 liters, 2.5 milliliters, and we have 150 micrograms. So what we're going to have here is, basically first I'll write the units, just the units of the fraction. So this is going to be 150, and this has to be over 2.5. But the units themselves, it's micrograms over milliliters. So when I look at this, I have two conversions. I need to convert the micrograms to grams, and I need to convert the milliliters to liters. So I'm going to have two converters. So again, the converters here, just my team, really, they help, they do the conversion for me. So I like calling them converters. So the first converter is going to convert from milligrams to grams. So I'm going to use this relationship. This relationship is the one that shows the link between a gram and a microgram. So again, I have to observe the unit I want to eliminate is in the numerator. So because of that, I'm going to position it in the denominator. So it doesn't matter if you use this version of the relationship or if you prefer to use the one with the negative power. Still the same, you will get the same answer. I always prefer the positive one there. Since I want to eliminate the unit which is in the numerator, I'm going to put its corresponding value in the denominator by corresponding and in from the connecting relationship, which is this one here. So 10 to the power 6 is the one with the microgram. So I'm going to have 10 to the power 6 micrograms here. And then the remaining one, of course, goes in the numerator. So again, this has converted the first one. I have to convert it to 2 units, so I'm going to have a second converter there. This is going to convert from milliliters to liters. The relationship between the liter and the milliliter is this one here. So again, I want to eliminate the milliliter, which is in the denominator. So I'm going to use the 10 to the power 3 in the numerator. So this is 10 to the power 3 milliliters in every 1 liter. So once I've done this, I'm as good as done. All I have to do is simplify this. Now notice that I kept alternating the unit. If the one I want to eliminate is in the numerator, I positioned it in the denominator. If it was in the denominator, then in my converter, I made sure it was in the numerator. Why was I doing that? It was so that when I multiply, these will cancel with that unit, and this will cancel with that. So what remains, if we simplify this now, notice that it's 150 multiplying 1, multiplying 10 to the power 3, and then the unit, the only unit remaining on top is the gram. Down here, what we have is 2.5, multiplying 10 to the power 6, multiplying, that's just the liter. So now the next part is just simplifying this. So notice that if you simplify the top part in the denominator, you're going to have 0.15 over 2.5. This is now grams per liter already. So finally, we get 0.06 grams per liter. So this becomes the final answer. Notice that this is saying that in every 1 liter, you should have 0.06 of grams of this particular drug. Okay, so this is how we make the conversion. Okay, so this was one question. Now we want to finish this tutorial by looking at an interesting one. I found this question to be a little bit interesting. It has some extra steps that I feel students tend to find a little bit tricky to work with. So in this one, we want to see, so let's look at the next question. So in this question, what I want us to look at is how we can convert 1 micro, let's say microliter. Let's convert this to millimeter cubic. Yeah, I think this is the one. Now, what makes this a little bit tricky for most students is we're not restricting our conversion only to 1 unit, the liter. We are looking at 2 units or 2 representations of volume, the liter and the meter cubic. So we want to convert from a unit which is based in liters to a unit that is based in meter cubic. So how do we do that? This seems or tends to throw off some students off their game, but really it's just something tricky, just something easy that we can work with. Now, most of you will know how to relate the microliter to the liter, and you will know how to relate the millimeter cubic to the meter cubic. But the thing is, how do we relate the microliter to the millimeter cubic? Well, there are a number of ways we can do that. So of course, the question is, we want to convert 1 microliter to millimeter cubic. Okay, so what's the solution? So of course, to make the conversion, there are a number of ways we can do this. First, we can move from microliter to liter. Then from liter, we can move from there and come to convert this to meter cubic. Then we can finally move from meter cubic to millimeter cubic. This is one route that you can use. So apart from this route, you can also move from microliter to milliliter. Then from milliliter, you know to say the milliliter and the centimeter cubic, they are 1-to-1. So whatever you find as your milliliter will be the same in centimeter cubic. Then from centimeter cubic, you can finally move to millimeter cubic. So I prefer this method because I only have to do the conversion from microliter to liter. And then after that, convert whatever I'm going to get there straight away to millimeter cubic. Whatever that is will be the same as value in centimeter cubic. So we're going to use this, but you can still try to use this method. if you prefer it. So of course here you know to say that 1000 liters is equivalent to 1 meter cubic. So you can use this conversion to jump from the liter to the meter cubic. But I'm going to prefer this one since I know to say that 1 milliliter is the same as 1 centimeter cubic. Okay, now using this method, how do we proceed? Well, first, I want to convert the microliter to milliliter. So I know milli means 10 to the power negative 3. So again, all I want to look at is micro. So look at the thing we did earlier on. Micro, I'm just going to look at the powers. Micro has negative 6. Milli, negative 3. So when you look at these units, these are expressed as we approach the liter itself, the powers. So to relate these to the micro and the milli, notice that what I'm going to have is 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. So I have to make 3 steps based on their powers. So their power here is going to be of order 3. So in other words, what I'm saying is, if I have 10 to the power 3 microliters, this is what will make 1 milliliter. Or I can say that 1 milliliter is equivalent to 10 to the power negative 3. Notice 1 microliter is equivalent to 10 to the power negative 3 milliliter. But again, this is why I always prefer the one with the positive power. So a lot of these smaller units, actually thousands of the microliters, will make 1 milliliter. So see how I use the powers there to determine how I jump from 2 smaller units. Since I know this is to jump from the micro to the liter, this is to jump from the milli to the liter. So I've just created a relationship to jump between them. Of course, there are so many ways you can do this. So it's up to you which one you prefer. Okay, so I found it. I'm using the 3, the power I'm going to work with is 3. Let's see how it works. Okay, so here I've seen the connection between the microliter and the milliliter. So what we're going to see here is that I want to eliminate the microliter, so I'm going to have it in the denominator. So I have 10 to the power 3 microliters in every 1 milliliter. Okay, so when I simplify this, notice that I get 1 over 10. And then this, since this unit is going to cancel with that unit, so this is going to be in milliliters. But this is the same as 1 over 10 centimeter cubic. So this is where I was saying that 1 milliliter is the same as 1 centimeter cubic. If you were using the other method, you would have had to convert this 1 microliter to liters and convert from liters to meter cubic. But here I don't have to convert to centimeter cubic because I already know to say they are 1 to 1. So whatever I have, it will be the same in centimeter cubic. Now my job is to convert 1 over 10. Now this has a power 3, sorry. I forgot that power. This part there has a power, I forgot that. So now my job is to convert 1 over 10 to the power 3 centimeter cubic to millimeter cubic. So of course, again, if I'm trying to figure out my multiplier or my converter, what I have to look at is the relationship. You see here, I don't know the relationship between the centimeter cubic and the millimeter cubic, or even the centimeter cubic and the meter cubic. But I know to say that what I know is that I know the relationship between the centimeter and the meter, and I know the relationship between the millimeter and the meter. So in other words, what you should see is that 1 centimeter, not 1 centimeter. I can also deal with this in terms of their powers. So centi, that's 10 to the power negative 2 or 10 to the power 2. So for centi, the power is negative 2. For milli, the power is negative 3. So I have negative 3 here and then I have -2 here. So this is where centi is, this is where milli is. So I see that the relationship between them is just 1. So in other words, I'm just dealing with 10 to the power 1 here. So the relationship is just 1, meaning I'm dealing with 10 to the power 1, that's 10. So in other words, what this is telling me is that 10 millimeters, this is what gives me 1 centimeter. This is millimeter. Let me have it like that. So of course, you guys should already know this. 10 millimeters will give you 1 centimeter. So yeah, this is what we have. Or I can say 1 millimeter is equal to 10 to the power -1 centimeter. So this is the alternative. But of course, I always prefer that part. So when I'm going to let them here, or when I use my converter, so again, I want to eliminate the centimeter. So I'm going to put the centimeter down. So I have 1 centimeter. And then up there, I'm going to have 10 millimeters. Okay, so I have that. But this is the icing on the cake now. Notice that this is the millimeter and this is the centimeter. So this will only cancel 1 from there. 2 will remain. So I need to use the converter 3 times. So to use the converter 3 times, all you have to do is raise this to the power 3. If you do that, notice that now the converter will be 1/10 to the power 3 centimeter cubic. But now it will be multiplying. Our converter becomes 1000 centimeter cubic, or meters millimeter cubic over, down here now we have 1 centimeter cubic. Notice that now we can clearly see that our units now cancel out. The centimeter will go with the centimeter, and then now we're going to have 1000 millimeters, like millimeter cubic over 1000 over 1000. So this will simplify to give us just 1 millimeter cubic. In other words, we're saying that 1 microliter is actually just equivalent to 1 millimeter cubic. Okay, so I hope you guys didn't get confused there. We ended up with 1000 millimeter cubic over 10 to the power 3, which is just the same as 1000 over 1000. This and that is what gave us 1 millimeter cubic. Okay, so with that, we have come to the end of this tutorial. Hope you guys found this helpful. Hope you're able to follow. We'll see you guys in the next tutorial. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section. All right, all the best. That's all you should have.